You guys just you keep coming around. I just keep hearing about you guys.
And I might need to tell Ryan to cut that up a little bit and just put it in my audio for my phone.
First of all, I love the game. I had a passion to play the game, not only football, but I love the game of golf. And what it lends to a person and the friendships you develop on the golf course.
It's been a pleasure being on the drop. I wish you guys all the best down the road.
As someone like you have that golf itch like a lot of us do.
I keep track of you, and you are moving. You are on the move.
So listen, I'm a big New Jersey golf guy. You're very kind, Mike, and you too, Ryan. It's a pleasure to be on just a couple of Jersey boys here talking about something we love. All the best. I really enjoyed it.
This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Coulott.
What's up, Drop Pod people? Welcome back to episode 144. You got Mike and I here. Mike, let's run through the schedule real quick. Inform people what's coming up and what's happened, where we've been, what we've had going on. It's been a busy early summer for us, So let's jump into it. Mike, before we get there, actually, we should wish everybody a happy 4th of July, or, a little bit belated. We said it last week. Hope everyone came out, enjoyed the time with the family, enjoyed the beach, the beautiful weather. I mean, was July 4th the perfect day? I mean, it was hot but not humid. There was a slight breeze. I mean, it was perfect for anything you were doing. Golf, beach, yard work, didn't matter. Perfect day. So hope everybody made it out, with all their extremities and had some fun and just had a good day. But yeah, the 4th is always a good summer point here. This week, Monday, the 7th, Mike played. We had a Galloping Hill video, right? Feature. We put out. Mike and I got up to Galloping Hill. Let me tell you, Mike, we've said this quite a bit, to each other, but let's tell the audience, Galloping Hill has been great to us. They've been very supportive from the beginning. It's the home of NJ Golf. It's hosted numerous qualifiers for different state events. It's hosting the Pub Links this year. It was great to get out there. And I've said I need to get out there. I played it years and years ago. I think it was like 15 plus years ago. They've done a lot of work to it. So I was excited to get out there. We got out there. We got a course feature for you. That was yesterday. If you didn't watch it, head over to YouTube. That's where it lives, and go check it out. You're going to see kind of a coincidence here because Mike's verse, I should say, is also from Galloping Hill. He played the 5th hole, par 5. Again, go over to YouTube, check out the Instagram. That's where those things are living. Today, Tuesday, the 8th, we got our episode. You got us here. If you're listening to us, make sure you like, subscribe, rate, review, all those things. You got Mike and I here. If you're watching on YouTube, Mike, wave to the camera. There you go. We got us here. If you're listening on YouTube, again, subscribe and feel free to leave a comment. All of our videos do live on YouTube, so that's where you should go over and make sure you're watching them there. Tomorrow, the 9th, that is, I played Galloping Hill's 18th hole, if playing is what you want to call it, but we got the 18th hole there. Little maybe lift up the curtain too much there on what we got, but that is Wednesday's content. Ryan versus Galloping Hill, the 18th hole, beautiful par 5. I will say, Mike, Galloping Hill does it right with having their 9th and 18th holes coming right back to the clubhouse. Beautiful view there, very nice. And then our interview this week is John Havey, the 2025 Mid-Am champ. But we had a lot of fun with it, right? Good interview. It's a must listen, right? Really is. And then closing out the week, Friday, we got a little carousel coming out and maybe some bonus content. So nothing solid for Fridays. We try to keep you on your toes, but until we can find something. But that's what we got right now for the schedule this week.
Today's episode is brought to you by All County Exteriors, your go-to for roofing, siding, windows, doors, and all things exterior home remodeling. As a third-generation family-owned company with over 40 years of experience, All County has earned the reputation for top-quality craftsmanship and service, far outlasting the industry standard. Whether it's a small repair or a full home upgrade, they serve both homeowners and builders across New Jersey. They're deeply rooted in the community, proudly supporting Make a Wish, St. Jude's, Roofs for Troops, and parents of autistic children. Thinking about a project? Now's the time. Get an instant 20% off for a limited time. Call 732-370-2780 or email them info@allcountyonline.com to schedule your free, no obligation consultation. That's 732-370-2780. All County Exteriors. Quality you can trust. Busy week as always for the boys here at the Drop Podcast. Let me go through the fast facts as quick as I can here. So the John Deere Classic, it's one of those people talk about having the best tee markers in the game. We're currently recording. Chris is T10 right now. We're recording a little before they tee off that final round, so we're hopeful that he made a nice move and even climbed further into the top 10. Unfortunately, John did miss the cut. And as always, I will preface it this way. If Chris did make a move, you probably had heard from me prior to this podcast. As we kind of turn the page to what's this week for the PGA Tour, they got kind of two events going on. One's not a signature event, but it's across the pond. And they're gearing up for the Open Championship, as Ryan likes to say. But
The Open Championship.
There you go. You got the Genesis Scottish Open going on over there. Max and Chris are both in the field. So you got that going on before the British Open happens the following week. But you also here in the States have the ISCO Championship. Okay. Another odd name, but hey, listen, it works. And John is in the field there. So that's kind of what we got going on right now in the PGA Tour.
Okay. Do you know what ISCO is, Mike?
No, I don't.
Either.
I didn't even know if it's ISCO. Yeah. So I didn't know if it was that either. So I'm just going to roll with the ISCO, and maybe I'll have to correct myself next week. But
I like it.
And then real quick on the Corn Ferry Tour, they're back in action this week. And again, we've said it numerous times. There's not better tournament titles than the Corn Ferry Tour. So this week we got the Ascendant presented by Blue. Out there in Colorado, Ryan and James are back in action. So best of luck to them this week. Whew, tongue twister.
I'll tell you what, tongue twister, when it doesn't seem like you got a full sentence out with the title of it. It seems like there's words missing, it seems. But
that's all I got for this week, pal.
Mike, this Scottish Open is interesting. Everybody goes over early, or I shouldn't say everybody, but most people like to go over early to kind of get used to the time zone change, to get used to playing links golf. It's another Open, so it's a big it's a big money. Yeah, it's a big deal. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone there to kind of go over, make a big 2-week trip, go over, play the Scottish Open, play in the Open Championship, and have two opportunities really to get kind of majors. And I know that I said major. Is the Scottish Open a major for the DP World Tour?
No.
Just
it's funny.
Big event.
They don't have quote majors over on the DP World Tour. There's no majors. Their big time tournaments are these Opens. Any country's Open is like a big deal over there. Yeah.
So having the Scottish Open be there, it's perfectly timed, but that's it's always a good field because you got a strong field with people from Scotland and pros over there, plus our pros going over to go play it. So
yeah, and I will say this, unless Chris has already won the John Deere Classic, which you would have heard from us by now if he has, I believe the Scottish Open is his last chance to qualify for the British Open. So he's going over there with the hope in mind that he's sitting out there for 2 weeks. Otherwise, that second week, unfortunately, may be just a vacation.
There's worse places to vacation.
Fair, but a guy of his magnitude probably wants to be teeing it up.
For sure. Yeah. Does he have to win the Scottish Open? or is it like top 5 get in, or?
I think it's a TBD for me. I can't
Okay.
give you an answer on that.
Okay. Yeah, I get that's I expect you to know all things, but
I know
sometimes
you do.
sometimes you're human.
I know you do. You ask me questions as if I'm a golf encyclopedia sometimes, and I'm really no different than you.
I thought you were Mike GBT.
Kind of like that. I kind of like that a lot.
All right, Mike. Let's get into the topics for today. You and I have gotten to play some golf again early summer this year, and quite frankly, guys, we have some places that we're visiting in the next couple weeks that we have that are some really big things going on. So let's kind of jump into a little bit of a preview as to or a recap, I should say, as to some places we've been. At the top, we started that we played Galloping Hill. Mike, you want to start there?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. As I said, Galloping Hill's been great to us. It's the home of New Jersey golf. They I don't want to say they bought it a few years ago. I don't know the financial situation, but they made it their home, their headquarters. They've redone the clubhouse. It's an enormous venue that's got room for weddings, conferences. It's obviously got the pro shop. It's got a great little gastro pub in there. Beautiful wraparound porch, 2-tiered. You got an upper and a lower. It is an excellent space that they have there. Then you talk about the golf course. Which golf course, Mike? I'm glad you asked. They have a learning 9. It's par 3s, par 4s, varying different distances, but it's a learning 9 holes. It's for people who want to start getting into the game, but don't, maybe a little scared to get on the big boy course. They also have the swing suite. If you keep going, I'm just now spanning across, Mike, as I'm looking at this. You have inside the swing suite, which we've been in and we've showcased, you have an indoor simulator there. You have kind of like another little halfway house kind of situation, and you have a driving range that is that does have covers, that is heated. You got all kinds of stuff on this. The facilities here are excellent. There's anything that you need golf related, you can get here. And then you have the golf course. And the golf course is spectacular. It is a great golf course. There's no reason why you wouldn't want to play here. It's in great shape. We did catch it on a day where it rained a ton. And the one thing the golf course doesn't do is drain very well. So that was a little bit of an issue for us. But frankly, it wasn't an issue for the golf course, Mike. I don't know how else to say it. Like, tee boxes were fine. Right? Nothing wrong. Like, it wasn't like we were, no standing water in the tee boxes, the fairways, the greens, nothing like that. But as you kind of got to the deep sides of it, there was some water issues. But, the course is low. It doesn't drain very well. It's the location of it. It is what it is. So we had a great time there. We had our videographer out, got to play the course. We were out there with Chris. It was a great day. Really was a good day.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for the people that are listening now, you got to pause this real quick. You got to go over to YouTube, go watch that video, because, I think what you get to see from where we're sitting, along with some of the B-roll that's in there, it's really, really well done. So that course feature, is live. It's out there on YouTube. Obviously, go check it out. And when you go check it out, hit that subscribe button, because, again, those things always help us.
Smash that subscribe button.
I do want to add some things. I did, talk to Chris again afterwards, because I wanted to make sure that, to your point, they are a big supporter of things that we do. And he kind of wanted me to drive home a point, and I think it's important to emphasize this, that since 2010, the partnership that Union County has had with Kemper Sports has really brought a lot of success to their spot. Starting with the clubhouse that sits at the highest point, being right up top of the Garden State Parkway that everybody sees. You have the Learning Center, which you mentioned, has 52 stalls. 20 of them are all weather. So if it's freezing cold out, you have an opportunity to not be that way. We talked about the swing suite in there. Oh, and then you still got the golf course. You got the 9 holes in the Learning Center. You got the 18 holes. And I think this is one of the things that people don't realize about Galloping Hill. It is the first and only public golf course to host the New Jersey Golf State Open, which I don't think a lot of people actually know that. So on top of hosting this year's Public Links Championship, at one point it did host the New Jersey State Open. So that is a very big deal as the only public golf course to actually do that, because we've talked about a lot of the courses hosting this event. It's the cream of the crop in the public or the private side.
Yeah, it is.
So I do think that it's important, and obviously, like you mentioned, New Jersey Golf is right in there in their main clubhouse. The New Jersey Golf Hall of Fame it's right in there as well. And obviously our good friend Kevin Purcell looks right down at that first tee from his office. So, I do think it's important to kind of mention some of those things about Galloping Hill. But I will say this, you get it all in the video from yesterday, as well as I know we've kind of put this out there as well. The audio side is out there. If you're just an audio listener and you don't like to listen, it's out there too. So you can go listen to that, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. So listen, we are kind of like a triple threat these days.
Yeah, no doubt. It really was a good spot, Mike. I don't, it was fun to get, Kevin saw us. Going back to Kevin Brazil, saw us on the 10th tee, came down, chatted with us. We had they tucked us back that day for sure. We were tucked in this like little chute there. That was cool to see him. Chris riding around with us all day was fun to chat with him. And as I said, big supporters. And it's really, we've been very fortunate that again, Galloping Hill, but also Kemper Sports have been really good to us and supportive of some of our ventures and some of the things we do. If we go outside Jersey, I've been to Tidewater a number of times, and I feel like Tidewater has been like a personal playground for me in Myrtle Beach there, and that's a Kemper property. So the people at Kemper have been great working with us. Can't thank them enough, and to see that Kemper and Union County have been working together for now 15 years. And you can see how that relationship has blossomed. I do think that big things are ahead for Galloping Hill. We kind of talked a little bit with Chris about some of the changes that they are looking to make or going to make. It's got great bones. It really does, Mike. As you said, it's hosted, the only public track to host a state open. It's a good golf course. It's tough. It's challenging. It's got elevation changes. It plays longer than it says on the card. It's got some holes that you can attack, but it's got some holes that you got to be wary of. It's got kind of everything that you would want in a golf course.
Yeah, it's a fun track. Gotta go check it out. I will say this as a wrap up, though, it's important. We're very transparent here. We're very honest with things, and I would be remiss if I didn't ask you what was its rating for its day.
So I like that you're keeping me honest with this, because this is about the time of the year last year where I stopped rating the golf courses, just kind of got overwhelmed and just kind of fell by the wayside there. So Galloping Hill received an 8.13. Now, it is, as I've said, it's an excellent public track. You're there. It's tough to get tee times there. As we say in our feature that came out yesterday, and as Mike said, go over to YouTube to check it out. Shameless plug again. That it was tough to get times. The Union County people are able to get it, I think, 7 days out. Non-residents are 5 days out, I think it was. But it's difficult to get a time. So you're either looking to walk on or go the day before, or the other option was to do these like mini outing kind of things, which is, I think, a great way to guarantee your time. But the value that you're getting here at this golf course is second to none. You got what was it, Mike? Was it $88 for non-resident Saturday morning? And wasn't it like 5:30 in the morning that they could tee off? Something ridiculous like that. Yeah. So that's crazy early. But you're looking at, now we're talking, we've had other courses on here. We talk about it's just about $100, just over $100 for a great golf course. Now we're talking less than 90 for a great golf course, right? It's a public golf is going to be busy. You're going to have some things that go along with public golf that you're not going to get with, some of the other courses that we've been able to, Mike and I have been fortunate enough to go play. But the value here is second to none. You're going to play a great golf course for under $90, and it's only going to be less if you wanted to go on on a weekday afternoon for out of town residents. So yeah, it was 8.13 was the score I gave it, Mike, and really I have it's a must play if you're looking for somewhere new and you're in the area.
Are you looking for the perfect place to tee it up this season? Or just looking for a great spot for casual comfort food? Or the most picturesque backdrop for the wedding of your dreams? Then you need to visit Galloping Hill Golf Course in Kenilworth, New Jersey. Galloping Hill has 18 holes of championship level golf open all year round. They also offer a top 50 in the country learning center that also includes the swing suite at Galloping Hill for those bad weather days during the season, in addition to a 9-hole course that is ranked in the top 10 of short courses in the entire country. Galloping Hill is more than just golf. The Hill Tavern Bar and Grill is a gastro pub with seasonal food and beer options updated regularly with amazing views of the course. Hosting over 150 golf outings and over 400 social events per year, their catering team wins awards each year from the Knot and Wedding Wire. Schedule a tour for your special event at the clubhouse at gallopinghill.com. To top it all off, Galloping Hill will be hosting the New Jersey Men's Public Links Championship for the record 12th time. It's all happening this year at Galloping Hill.
Now we go from kind of one extreme to the other, right? Galloping Hill, kind of, I don't want to say run-of-the-mill municipal golf course, but it is a municipal golf course, public golf. We go from that end to the other extreme. Let's talk about Somerset Hills Country Club, Mike. You might have heard of it. Somerset Hills is constantly in the top 5 golf courses in New Jersey. I don't have enough adjectives to describe it. It was a real treat to get out there. We got out there. Mike and I went up with Eric Lafante, who we had on. We tried getting something to happen last year when we interviewed him. We weren't able to make it work, so we cashed in for this year. Mike and I took the trip up, played on maybe the hottest day of the year so far. Carried the bags, walked the course. It was a true golf day at a place that I would call a true golf course, right? They said a lot of people like to carry, that, and whether it's they're doing it to save a couple bucks on cart fees or, Mike, we said it out there. Sometimes it gets exhausting for sure, but I do feel more in tune with the game when I'm walking. There's something about walking that kind of brings you to a little bit more of like I don't know if Zen's the right word, but like you feel more in tune with the golf game is really the best way to describe it. So, Mike, let's let you chat a little bit about Somerset Hills here. What did you think of the course? What did you think of the day? What did you think of all of it?
Listen, it's been one of those courses, I think, before this podcast ever started that you're like, oh, I would love to see what that place looks like. I'd love
Absolutely
to go play
was.
there. And then being able to be provided that opportunity. Big time shout out to Eric for hooking this up. Mike was out there with us. So, Pelly, thanks for him to having us
Yep.
out there as well. And one of the things, I know you just hit on it, but I absolutely loved the fact that dudes are out there carrying their own bags. And I know some people may say, well, that it's a country club. They're very wealthy. Why are they doing that? I flip it around and say, from an exercise perspective, it's unbelievable how hard it is to carry your bag on a regular golf course. But some of those hills are dramatic. And to still see people out there lugging the bag, I thought was one of the most fun, old school ways to do things, because you don't typically see that at a country club, especially at this caliber.
No, you really don't. And doing it for the front 9, was a good walk. But as you said, you got to the back 9, you got you got an up and down on 10, 11's, rather flat. 12 is the par 3, but then you're hiking up Everest from 12 to 13's tee there, and kind of getting on top. And then you got a couple others that you're really, doing a lot of undulation changes on the back there. I agree to your point. It's an old school club. It is not. I don't mean this in like a bad way, but it's not fancy. Like you go in down the driveway and the clubhouse is not this like big, beautiful traditional. We talked about it at Ridgewood. We talked about it at North Jersey. We talked about it at Baltusrol. Like those three clubhouses are vastly different than Somerset Hills Clubhouse, right? It's I don't want to say a no frills, but it's definitely not the centerpiece here. The golf course here is the centerpiece. I say that the activities, I guess, would be the centerpiece, because it's one of only 2 places in New Jersey that have grass tennis courts, I think is what Eric said to us. The golf course is immaculate, and you talk about like it's an early AW Tillinghast design. Everybody loves this golf course. So when you look at this property, it might not have the glitz and glamour of the bigness of like a historic clubhouse or golden age architecture clubhouse kind of thing, but the golf course slaps, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Listen, the apple trees right there on the left-hand side as you're walking
So
down
cool.
one is something that you hear the stories about people grabbing them and eating them. Unfortunately, they weren't out in bloom when we were out there, but I mean that you see them, and you see them when you're walking down 9 on the left-hand side too.
Easy to hit into them as well.
Yeah. So that I thought that was just kind of a unique thing about that golf course that you hear about, and then being able to experience was something else. So let's kind of go through the front 9 and let's go through the back 9, and let's talk about some things, and we'll end it with your rating at the very end. But what'd you think about the front 9? Was there anything that really kind of stood out to you on the front 9, comparatively speaking?
So again, I go to the no frills kind of part of this. The driving range is very small. There's not a lot of warm up area. It's not a very big distance area. It's one of the things that we've talked about is like Matita with the large half moon all grass driver. Like the practice area here, it's not really what you're going for, right? You're going to hit a couple balls to get the back loose, and then we're getting onto the golf course, right? But like how the driving range right there kind of rolled into the first tee box. Everybody's watching you tee off, coming out of not really a shoot, but like you got a building on your left. You got the workers there. You got golfers that are coming down 9. You got guys that are on the driving range there. Like you're in, like, you got people teeing off on 10 right behind you. Like you're at an epicenter there that is very busy, and you want to put a good golf shot there early, because otherwise you're going to be pretty embarrassed. So I was very happy to get it off the tee and in the air right away. So that was good. I thought that was a really cool starting hole. I don't know if we've started on or played a cooler starting hole yet in this venture, Mike.
Yeah, definitely a unique spot. I mean, you got everything surrounding you. It's like, better tee it up and get it off the tee. Otherwise, you got a lot of
Yeah.
people looking at you weirdly.
If
But
you
I get
look,
what you're saying.
yeah. I guess to answer your question of like an amen corner kind of thing, is it 9, 8's the par 3, right? If we go backwards, 8, 7, 6, I thought was like the amen corner of the front. I loved those 3 holes. If you go 6 is the reachable par 5, right? So you kind of go out. If you put a little fade on it, you can get in with an iron. Otherwise, you're in range of a wood or a hybrid. And I liked what Eric said. It's a par 5 that plays like a par 4.5, and then that was 6, and then 7's a par 4 that plays like a par 4.5. And really cool history with the land used to be a horse farm, so there's parts of the fairway that are in the, like, there's a slope, like the bank of a turn on the horse farm here. So the fairway takes it, and then there's a tough slope right down, into the rough there. That was a a very like neat bit of like homage to like what the course used to be. I thought that was really, really cool. And as you found out, not very, you would think it'd be easy for the ball to roll off such a steep plane, but it didn't necessarily do that. And then that eighth hole, that par three, is a long, tough, but beautiful golf hole. Really, really a cool stretch of holes there between 6, 7, 8 there.
Yeah,
And then I would even say like 9, beautiful golf hole as well. Like you got to know what you're doing, you got to know where to put it, you got to be strategic, and you got to put good golf swings together.
Yeah, there's no doubt that that's a good stretch here. I thought really for me there was just two holes in the front that I thought were like, wow. I love the second hole, the par three, the way that thing sloped from right to left, the way the
Mhm.
bunkering was done. You knew you couldn't miss it left over there, and it was kind of like dead meat. But even if you missed it right, it was no easy up and down either. It was like you need to be very precise off the tee. And I think standing on that tee box and kind of looking around was really neat. And then also number seven, I love the way that hole looked. I loved how it, finished as it got to the green. Those two holes to me were on the front nine. We're like, okay, like wow, okay, this is kind of what you hear a lot about Somerset Hills, the ins and outs. So I like those two holes a lot on the front.
Yeah, I think a testament to, like you said, I said hole 7, you say hole 7. I think that stretch there is great. Hole 2 was beautiful as well. The bunkering, like you said, you can't miss left. So I challenged it and went left and learned the hard way that you don't want to go left there.
But then I think as you got to the back nine, I think that's when, at least on my scorecard, I got a lot of notes here that I was just like, wow. Because to your point about 10, you talked about it on the first tee, you kind of right there, and you kind of have to, be cautious of what's going on. You don't want to hit it too far left. But it's also a kind of a shorter par five, but the green is not easy whatsoever. So it is a hole you could look at and say, hey, listen, maybe I could get one back, but the green defends it very well to make it a little more challenging than the
and
number predicts.
and you have an elevated second shot. Like it is a reachable. I actually, it's funny. Like when we were playing it the entire time, even when I putted out, I thought it was a par 4. So I walked away thinking that I had a double when really I just had a bogey. But that second shot, if you put a shot out into the fairway and you can get to it, you have a long iron, or again some kind of hybrid, or wood, going into an elevated green that is well guarded, that has a lot of undulation, and you're going to be put in a precarious situation if you try to go for it with a 5 wood and don't land it on the green and it rolls through. You have a severe downhill sloped shot to a green that's running away from you or that's got a lot of movement. Very difficult hole when you step back and look at the scorecard, go, oh, I should be able to get one back here. And no, it's you got to put good golf shots together for sure.
But this is when the golf course just wows everybody. Is this stretch 11 through 16? I think this is what everybody sees in all the artwork and the pictures on Instagram, any type of social media. Because once you get to 11, the name of the hole is perfection. And I don't know if there's a better word to describe that hole than that, because that's, I feel like, when Somerset really starts to pop. It's like, here we go. It's like, you better tighten those shoes a little tighter. One more belt buckle, like tighten this thing up because it's about to get going. And I thought that stretch from 11 to 16, it doesn't matter what hole it was, every single one of them was, wow, this is good. Oh, this one's better. Oh,
Mhm.
this is the best.
Yeah.
Because every single one of them had a unique characteristic about it that just separated it even and made it even better.
You're 100% right. The 11th hole, dog leg right, beautiful. Like you get view of the water, you get little like the rock wall that kind of keeps the pond in play. You got a green that's elevated, just beautiful backdrop there. Par 3 basically into the water is kind of where you're going. You got a little peninsula. Green is very tough. They got some precarious pin positions that they could put it in on that 12th hole, and then you got to hike up the mountain there to get to 13, which, Micah, I would say until we got to the green was a rather mundane hole. Pretty straight, right? Hit it down the fairway, hit it onto the green, and then you show up to the green and you have a traditional Barrett's green that you're like, oh wow, okay, here's the character of the hole. Because again, I felt like that hole, like I was up there and I was like, how did I miss the fairway here? The fairway's 75 yards long, like wide. What? How? This is an easy hole. Like we should be able, and then you get up to the green and you're like, okay, this is now the character of the hole, right? And then coming back, another great hole, well bunkered, in 14, but then 15 I absolutely love. Dog leg right, you can take it on with a fade, or you're going to lay up to have a longer shot in. Beautiful, the stream kind of running across there. I thought, if you were to ask me my favorite hole in the back, it might be 15. I thought that was absolutely beautiful, beautiful looking and well designed golf hole.
Yeah, and even on 14, it has that like infinity green, the way it just kind of like you think it goes forever,
so
and it
cool.
kind of
Yeah.
slopes off, and then you still get to see everything. The walk from 15 to 16 that Pelly told me to go back there, go take the picture back there, and then you look and to see kind of like what 16 looks like from back there. There's just so many different things about that stretch from 11 to 16 that is like, wow. And to leave a golf course on that stretch, regardless of how you play, kind of makes you say like, wow, this place is really good, because sometimes you get that early in the round and then you forget about it because maybe the couple holes at end aren't there. But that wow factor really kind of smacks you in the face from 11 to 16.
100% does. It 100% did. It was such a good stretch of golf there. It was beautiful, like aesthetically beautiful. Architecture was off the chart there. It was, everything was well placed. I don't have enough good things to say about it. Really was a great stretch of holes right there. And 16 too, like you looked at it, it's a 150-yard par 3. Okay, hit a 9-iron up there, bigger hitters hit a wedge up there, and it's like, no, you got a lot more. It's more elevated. The wind's into you usually. You got a lot more problems than you step onto the tee box and think, oh, okay, 150 yards, just knock that on. And you don't want to be short and right. You don't want to be long and left. You don't want to be long and right. You got to be dancing. So it's definitely a great golf hole.
So I got a couple questions here for you that I wrote down on the side that's not even on the sheet, so you can't peek at this.
Before you said that, okay, well, first off, everything should be on the sheet so that I can, so you can black it out. At least we know it's there, right? I did that to you last week. But I will say, you said something earlier. I thought you said the infinity green on 14. You are kind of up the ledge, right? So like 12 was down. I said you climb the mountain, but then you don't really get it on 13 because you walk kind of up the mountain and then towards the wood line, right? But you're right. Like that view is beautiful from 14's green and then the walk to 15's tee box there. You're kind of on top of the ridge, seeing everything. And it really is a beautiful view from up there. I didn't want to skip past that because I thought you said that perfectly. It was like from the fairway, it was like an infinity green. Like you just, like an infinity pool just kind of doesn't, this same kind of thing. You're hitting into the yonder. So yeah, great spot there.
Yes, definitely a lot of special things. And I, as you wrap up 16, 17 and 18, I will say this. They're not wow holes. They're not anything that's going to blow you away. 18's a hole you probably can get one back at. It's not the longest of holes. But it's a cool little backdrop. We went and stood on the patio up there, and you got to overlook a lot of things that was kind of going on from 18 and all the way down the alley or the woodway But the two questions I do have for you are this. Question number one, when you think about our last 3 episodes on here, okay, we've got the opportunity to do some really special things thanks to a lot of great people that we met along the way. But when you think about 2 weeks ago, we talked about Baltusrol and the upper course. Last week, we talked about Essex County and the unbelievable piece of property they have there. And then this week, you're kind of hitting on your day at Somerset. Knowing that these courses are always in conversation, my question is, what is your order for these 3 golf courses?
So, Mike, I got to take out Essex because I didn't play it. So I can't really speak to that at all. So I'm gonna take out Essex. I do. I am gonna, and maybe even without you, but I am gonna call Don Juan to see if I can get out there, because it's one that I have to go see. It's not one that's like, oh yeah, I can go. You talked about it so highly. It gets talked about so much. It's one that I just got to get to. If I claim to be this course rater that I don't necessarily claim to be, but I'm doing the ratings. I gotta have the spots on. So it is one that I do want to cash in on at some point this season. But I'm going to take that one out. I don't want to knock. And this is, again, these are two excellent golf courses. This is a mandatory drop everything that you're doing and go play. Baltusrol Upper, Somerset Hills are excellent courses. And they're both AW Tillinghast courses. I like the upper course better. Whatever the reason, it sits my eye better. I just loved it. I loved the vastness of it. I loved I loved everything about Baltusrol Upper. And I imagine that the lower course is only better from what people say. There wasn't anything, in my opinion, that was wrong with the upper course. Not that there was anything wrong with Somerset Hills. I just liked Baltusrol Upper better than I liked Somerset. So,
which is fine. I was just very curious about that, because it kind of was going to lead me to my next question of like, what was your rating then for Somerset, knowing how well the upper course did rate for you?
So I'm gonna answer, and then I'm gonna ask you a question. So Somerset got a 9.5. So it was slightly behind the upper course. And I think that when I make the ratings and I go like, where does this sit? I liked the upper course better. I just like, trying to take away like the lunch, trying to take away the glitz and the glamour of like being up there for the day that we were up there, and just looking at the golf course. I absolutely loved that golf course, and it's a golf course I would not get tired of. Somerset Hills, not that I would never want to go play it again, but I would go back and I would play it 9 times out of 10. But there'd be another day where I'm like, okay, I don't necessarily want to play it today. Let me go play somewhere else. And between that and I can remember vividly every hole at the upper course. I can walk you through every shot that we took that day. I can almost do that at Somerset Hills. So that's also something that you and I have talked about, is the memorability of a place. And I just having to think a little bit harder at Somerset Hills for it kind of gives me that like, yeah, I liked the upper just a little bit more. And as evidence, it scored just a little bit higher. So 9.5 Somerset Hills was the rating there.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, and it speaks to what we've talked about at length here. Some people have this course rated higher than others, and it just comes with the territory.
I mean, if you look at it, it is, traditionally, like the most recent rankings was Pine Valley lower, Somerset Hills upper. And we could go back and look at Stevens, he sent us how many points away they are, but some people like one better than the other. They're super close, and obviously by my rankings they are as well. So, yeah, I'm going to flip it back on you, Mike, because you did get to play all 3 of these. We've talked about Essex, we've talked about Balti, we've talked about Somerset. What is your order there of those 1, 2, and 3?
To be determined.
Oh, you're such a coward.
I don't like, and I knew that's where you were going to go, and I will say,
I know you
this.
wanted to save it for the end of the year. I know you.
I will say this: your ratings matter to people. The DMs that we get are about like, well, what did Ryan rate it? How does he rate it that high, or how does he rate? Oh, that's a good rating. Like, I hear it all, and so people are curious to hear what you have to think. I think from my perspective, it's not so much what people that they don't care about my opinion and they want yours more. for me, it's like, all right, well, since the season has started, I haven't really given you an order. I've said things about certain courses where I think they lie, but I haven't given you an honest order yet. So I don't want to jump the gun and now all of a sudden be, bandwagon guy and jump on your ratings and start giving you my takes on it all. So for me, it's like, all right, let me continue to gather my thoughts, to gather my opinions. And then at the very end, come the fall and the winter, I'll be able to give you what you've been able to give the people on a weekly basis.
I mean, I think that's going to be a big episode. And we talk about the end of posting season being November 14th, 15th, whatever it is. That next week or those next 2 weeks, or maybe we save it for after Thanksgiving, but like that's going to be a monster episode when we just go, hey, these are the courses we played this year. This is our rating, and this is where the order that it sits. I think that's going to be a monster one. And I do know that's what you're waiting for, but I thought I would get it out of you.
Listen, let's just call a spade a spade. I mean, if you get invited to go play the upper course, if you get to go invited to Somerset, if you get invited to Essex County, it's a no-brainer.
Oh,
it's a no-brainer.
100% no-brainer. 100%.
So, in terms of my order, you're not getting it. I have a lot of opinions on it, as I do a lot of things. So I'll just continue to make sure my thoughts are well thought out and everything's properly written out so that when I speak it, I really get all the hate.
All right. Mike, before we wrap up here, I want to do two things. We want to send a congratulations out to Henry Bolster.
Yep. Big time. He ends up, recent guest on the show, him and Sean had a nice little run at the 4-ball. They win the 4-ball. Henry goes out and plays in the William Y. Deere Junior Championship. Now, for a lot of you younger golfers out there that play in these junior events, like this is the one I can remember always playing in, trying to get to match play. Like it's stroke play the first round. If you can make it to match play, you get ranked 1 through 16 and you play it all the way out. Never forget playing in all these things. The one time I made it to the match play, it was like the best thing ever. Never was as good as these guys are, but congrats to Henry. Collects his second victory of the summer. He's getting things done at a place that you and I visited a couple years ago at Essex Fells.
I'll tell you, Mike, that's one. I said it to Henry. I was like, you have a bright future ahead of you. Like his best golf. And usually that's the case, right? You're going to get better with age as all. He's not even close to his ceiling yet. And I think he's going to Bucknell, right? Right. Bucknell's got an absolute stud and someone that's going to really, really shock them as to how good he's going to be. Cause he's not even the best version of himself yet. So congrats to Henry, good on you, buddy. And then Mikey, I need to congratulate you as well. Right. It's happened. Well, it hasn't happened yet, but we got the invitation. Mike has been saying since episode 3 that his white whale is Bayonne Golf Club. Right. He's Ahab and now I forget the whale's name in whatever that. Oh, Moby Dick. His Moby Dick is Bayonne Golf Club. Mike has the invitation. He's going to play. You want to talk about it, Mike, or just...
Listen, it's a big day. Friday. Yeah. Rain, shine, sleet, hail, thunderstorm, whatever it is. We're getting 18 holes in up at Bayonne on Friday. I'm excited to get up there. It's one of those non-podcast things that I got an invitation to go up there and do. It was kind of like a no-brainer. Fingers are crossed. I got the okay to film some content when I'm out there. So I'm going to get some things, for us to come back to look at, hopefully get a couple, get a Mike verse, maybe get a 3 and 30 out while I'm out there and obviously get a carousel. And it's one of those things. Listen, you talk so highly about wanting to go play somewhere and it's like, it's just one of those spots. You just kind of hope it lives up to expectations. You've talked about it so high that it's like, don't pop this big time bubble of mine.
I really hope that that's not the case, Mike, because you've been talking about it so much, like where they say like, don't meet your heroes. And then, you grow up like loving Patrick Ewing and then you meet Patrick Ewing and he, what's up, young blood, gives you a pound and walks away. And it's like, oh, I was really looking forward to having a conversation with it, right? Like, I hope that's not the case. I hope it exceeds expectations. And I honestly, I think if it does exceed expectations for you, it only validates how good the golf course is because you've been so excited to get out there. So
Yeah, so stay tuned. That's Friday. So
yeah, we
and
got some big.
I do want to end this episode on one thing because I gotta thank all our followers on Instagram. Because again, as you saw yesterday, we were out at Shoregate, doing a nice little course feature. And everybody, after my complaining that everybody was hating on us and going on the over, everybody started to smash the under. And, we're starting to come through. I mean, Galloping Hill, people saw they smashed the under. Everybody was on the under for you and I, and we smashed it. So again, listen, I just want to throw this out there. Thanks to everybody that's smashing the under button, that's rooting for us hard. Nothing gets me going if you start hating on us.
I'm going to keep smashing the over for you. So, so that's all we got here for today. Stay tuned Thursday for our interview with John Havey, again, 2025 Mid-Am champion. And stay tuned for what we got coming out. We got some big weeks coming out. Mike, maybe we'll talk a little bit more next week about our some of the things we have upcoming here in July. But stay tuned Thursday for our interview with John. Till then, cheers.